learning for your mini. But you can learn too. Don't send your mini into the belly of the beast unarmed. Courses, practical math, language, the code, our story, and more. An institution founded by us, dedicated to us and our fight for justice. Here you will learn ways to combat the system using the same information they are trying to keep away from you. Welcome to FBA Sunday School.
Well, it's not Sunday just yet. It's Friday, August 30th, and welcome back, everybody. I'm Eve, and tonight, the true crime, the new blacks. I'm here with my sister Taisha of Time Onyx, of a lot of different channels and things, new things that she's got rolling out for you in the upcoming months. But Taisha, in whatever way and capacity that you're here tonight, welcome back.
Thank you, sis. Happy to be here.
I thought it would be fitting to have you, a quote unquote crime expert. I say crime expert because you're in law enforcement, you've got military training, and then you've just got general common sense and critical thinking skills that I think are required and necessary if people are having conversations in public. Thank you for bringing your expertise tonight.
Thank you. Happy to be here. Happy to share that. I'm just, like you say, I'm just Eve. I'm just Taisha doing what I can.
That's real. Right. I am just Eve. So what I don't try to do, and I know most of you who are already joining and already here, because y'all are Johnny on the spot with the notifications, regardless of YouTube's hating. Y'all know that I try not to espouse myself to be any sort of authority on anything as much as I know what I know. And I know that y'all know some things. And sometimes we can bring these knowledges together and have a constructive conversation, albeit uncomfortable, but definitely can move Black America and America forward. I know people like to think that I'm focused on Black America. I love us, but essentially I'm really rooting for us as a country. You know, I don't want Babylon to burn with us in it as much as if it's going to burn and I catch a little seat by the fire with the popcorn and the family, we can roast some marshmallows while we watch the system burn. That's cool. But while we're in it, no. But that only happens if we are comfortable getting uncomfortable. So without further ado, uncomfortable. Look, the true crime, impersonating a nigga, should be a true crime. It's not, but it should be in the same form and fashion that you wouldn't impersonate a police officer, you wouldn't impersonate a gang member. I don't think you should be allowed to impersonate a Black person, especially now in 2024 when we are so close to our reparative justice. I just wanted to share what I've seen from the rest of the world. You know, they have their own thoughts about how we run things over here. And I find that people get stuck in the American newsroom so that they don't actually know how everybody else feels about us. Have you ever seen that, Taisha? Like you see the two-wing same bird thing, but then you step outside of America and it's like, oh, whoa, okay. Yeah, we might need to pay attention to how they feel about that because they're not talking about it on our news channels.
Yeah, I've heard this term before, and I think it applies. It's called black fishing? You know, they have catfishing, but it was these Instagrammers. They were non-Black females, but they'll get, made up to look Black and do the whole yo stuff like that. So yeah, I think it's called black fishing.
Oh, you're right. Because then, if you're using self-tanning and that sun glow, the golden hues of the contour to appear darker, and that's not how you are.
They was doing a TikTok challenge or something like that years ago where they'll take a shot glass and puff up their lips and stuff. Yeah, it's a whole bunch of nonsense.
Right. It's very strange. And then these same people who are blackfishing, they they will be very entitled. I saw one video where this girl, she had cornrows with extensions going on, and it was so funny because it was a white hairstylist who clipped the video and was telling her, "Look, Becky, some hairstyles are not made for you. Like, yeah, you can do it, but I promise you, your shit's about to fall out because you're not supposed to be doing these things." And
It
it's
reminds me,
funny.
I went to the Bahamas, and as soon as the cruise ship docked and we're coming off the boat, there's like people who are like, "You want your hair braided?" Like they'll have actual mannequins in their hands. "You want your hair braided? Hair braided?" And yeah, those who got their hair braided look a mess.
That's funny. It's like as soon as you get to these beautiful destinations that have these indigenous people who are getting raped off of their land, without they don't have any resources, or the people are actually tormenting the population. I've seen all sorts of little child abuser rings popping off in these beautiful destinations, right? You can go there with money, but then if you're from there, no, you have to hoe yourself out in order to get ahead, and then hoe yourself out. But she's just talking about braiding hair, Eve. No, I think that the head is
It's deep.
supposed to be sacred, right?
Yeah, it's deep. Yep.
Speaking of sacred, I really think that our election should be sacred, but I can't help but laugh and then be sad about how the rest of the world views America. This is a 7-minute clip. I don't know if I'm going to have to show the whole 7 minutes, but just if you will take the time with me tonight to just pick up on whatever body language that you're picking up on, however they're talking, see if you can pick up what I was picking up, what they were putting down, and then what do we do with this? Because I think there's a crime being committed right now, and until more people are comfortable calling it out, it's just going to continue to fester. Let's see if I got it unmuted. Boom, let's go. Here it is.
Author of groundbreaking books, including his latest, The War on the West, Douglas Murray. We finally have a Kamala Harris interview. Today, CNN announced that she will be sitting down with Dana Bush, but the interview is not live, and she will have Tim Walz joining her.
Okay, so just for timeline aspect, I know the interview has already happened, but this is what I watched before the Tim Walz and Kamala Harris interview. Taisha, with so many days before the election, do you find it strange that we don't get an opportunity to talk to the candidates without having any sort of buffer?
It's definitely like political theater. It's about the money and who can buy the most airtime, who can put the most commercials on. And to be honest, I tune out. I definitely tune out around this time because it's the same crap show every 4 years, and actually it's every 2 years. So yeah, it goes to show, like, okay, these candidates are not for the people, they're for the corporations, because there's nothing that moves me. It's all about, where those tracing the money back to those huge donors and that agenda.
That's real. And actually, that kind of fits with what D. Griff is saying in the chat, because they're saying that when they were in Mexico, a lot of the women with the box braids and the rose were melanated. And I'm not saying that they're not. What I'm saying is that those melanated women are like giving away keys to the kingdom, because that's all they have left, the Black experience. They can't sell you anything off of their land because it's not theirs. They can't even really provide a service other than what they can do with their hands or their bodies. That's kind of why I said hoeing themselves out. But it's just so strange to me that people are so willing to give away their essence. But when you're starving and people are fleeing, I mean, I don't know what you would do. It seems like you're in a rock and hard place type of situation, but it's easy to tune out for sure, because it's not like they're going to be giving us anything. But since I've made it a point to start talking very loudly about this stuff, I can't not pay attention, even though I know what's about to happen. But you wouldn't have been able to tell me that the rest of the world felt like this without me seeing it. Let's see if I can get to, okay, this is the author. And yes, the joke's on them. His name is Doug. His name is Doug. They're both Dougs, right? Okay.
Oh, am I aging myself?
Well, let's see what Doug has to say.
Thing that the Democrat nominee for president is actually going to deign to answer any questions from the press. Of course, Joe Biden has given fewer press conferences during his time in office than any president of recent decades. And it looked like Kamala Harris was trying to beat him to that record, if no other. The fact that she's doing with her running mate, Tim Walz, is extraordinarily interesting. And I'll tell you why. It's for this reason. We don't know any details of what Kamala Harris would like to do or intends to do if she gets the most important job in the world in November. We don't know what her fiscal policies are going to be, what her trade policies are going to be. We don't have any detail of what her border and immigration policies are going to be. And we don't have any knowledge at all of what her foreign policy is going to be.
And okay, I have to stop it here because it tickles me and angers me, Taisha. This woman is running for the most powerful position on the planet, right? And the people around the world, I know this is just one sample, but y'all can use that wonderful mega computer at your fingertips to do some research. And well, this is Kamala's website. I've continued to share this website over and over and over again. He's not lying. What the hell is this woman's policies? Because I don't see anything on her website as much as I see them talking about what you said earlier. It's about them commercials. It's about how much you're spending. Chip in today to power our campaign. Donate. Meet us. Take action. How can you take action? By donating, of course. So
give me your money.
Right. It's all about the money. And then I'm like, no, they're just being mean, right? He's just being mean to her because everybody keeps saying that it's these old white men. Okay, he's older, he's got white hair, he is a white man, but he's not American, so he doesn't have a dog or a pony in this race, right? But to be an outsider looking in and then to hear how people are looking at us, I think there's a crime there. Did you have anything to say before I press play again?
Nothing. Like I said, I really don't have much to say about the presidential race. I really don't, because I'm just not into it. I've seen it happen time and time again, and I'm just out of it. The only thing that I had to share was that I did get one thing from the interview, and it was shoehorned in about the Anti-Lynching Act and stuff, and I had to think about it. I'm like, yeah, I remember back in 2019 when she stated that Jussie Smollett, and his so-called attempted lynching that turned out to be completely staged and a hoax. But I remember all that being looped in, and I was like, this is a freaking joke.
It really is. Shit. Speaking of a joke, let's just go straight here.
And I'm sorry to go on another track, but these are all lawyers, and yes, there are some wonderful lawyers, but not to quote Tyler Perry as Medea, but when he was saying "lie are ya," I was like, yeah, I'm not with that. I'm not with it.
No, and that's real, because lawyers are supposed to be the upper echelon of people who can talk.
But when you
And
think
this
about
woman
in
can't.
trial, everyone gets sworn in except for the lawyers. Everyone else has to
Ooh,
raise
very
their
good
hands,
point.
but lawyers don't get sworn in. So
Very good point. That reminds me of my case that I just had this week. The lawyer on the opposing side said some very questionable things, and outside of the prosecutor objecting to these questions, the statements that he was able to kind of plug in there. Like, whoa, okay, you just straight lied. I mean, you straight lied, and nobody has. There's no consequence for it because it wasn't really a question and wasn't really anything that I needed to respond to. But
well, it was a consequence. They took an L.
oh yeah, that is for sure.
Took an L.
Taking an L has to be a consequence, and even if it's a small L, like people keep trying to show me, we're definitely gonna get to that. But
we're definitely gonna get to
big
that.
L.
Let them play that beautiful bean footage.
Yeah, let's go to this big L right here.
I want to ask you about your opponent, Donald Trump. I was a little bit surprised. People might be surprised to hear that you have never interacted with him, met him face to face. That's going to change soon. But what I want to ask you about is what he said last month. He suggested that you happened to turn Black recently for political purposes, questioning a core part of your identity.
Yeah.
Any
Same old tired playbook. Next question, please.
That's it?
That's it.
Wow.
So the reason why I'm sharing that, and it's not for the same reason that everybody else has been sharing it, not that their reasons aren't as valid. You can't be out here saying that you're Black or allowing people to call you Black and then don't have any response for your Blackness, right? She just completely ignored the interviewer's question and acted like it was okay. The whole reason for the interview is because people are saying, we don't know anything about what you're doing. And then to choose this moment of all moments to not answer any question just kind of reminds me of this person. And Chris in the chat, how fitting for you to pop up right TF now.
Hey, Chris.
Because it's you who alerted me to the fraudulency, the fraudulent behavior of people who are cosplaying as Black. And what I mean by that is you can have brown skin, but we've already come to this understanding as a culture that Black is not just your skin color, even though nobody has Black skin. It's how you think, it's your culture, it's what you do. And if at the beginning of people's internet podcasting, they were not Black, and then there was an opportunity to be Black, it seems like, well, maybe that's the move that they would make if people aren't asking any questions. So Chris May, shout out to you for helping me and others pay attention to the timeline of things, because you can't just pop up and be Black as much as you can pop up and then try to maintain an air of this Blackness for as long as you can. But if we're being Black, or if everybody gets to be Black, well, what's special about it? Taisha, can you take a look at your screen and just what I'm sharing on the screen right now is a screen capture of a tweet made from just a few years ago about revenge corn. And with revenge corn, it's about sluts. And yes, he did show up for the L that he took the other day. But for revenge corn, they're saying that there's no such thing as revenge corn. But Taisha, if there is a law, doesn't that mean that there's such thing? Can you, as a law enforcement person,
18.2 something in the Commonwealth of Virginia that there was a conviction for? Yeah, there is a such thing, and it lists all the elements of the crime that takes place, and what you must prove to get a conviction. So there's no no excuse for it, or no way out of it. But yeah, there is a such thing, and it's disseminating images of another person that reveals their personal areas without their permission.
Are you talking about that 18.2-386.2 unlawful dissemination or sale of images of another penalty? That That
Exactly.
okay.
Yeah, that's it right there. And the rest of the tweet after all, that would be slut shaming. No, it's not, because if you are the receiving party and they were um for your eyes, but then you get mad about whatever you got upset about and took those private images and disseminated those to the public or another party without permission, wouldn't that just be you just mad because you got rebounded and you can't take your L in silence
It does
and
seem like you
privacy?
can't take your L in silence, because it's all of this just seem like a hissy fit crybaby temper tantrum to me. And while y'all might think that that's benign for your child to throw a hissy fit or a temper tantrum at the store, it really isn't. If your child is at the point where they can just do or run amok and it doesn't matter, shame on your parenting skills. Shame on you for bringing that child out into the public and allowing us to feel bad for the child if they get consequence by you in public, or you, because the child is not listening. It's all of it. Is just seems like y'all should stay your freaky asses inside, right? But we can't do that. Can't make people stay inside. But I do think that we can hold people to the letter of the law, especially if they espouse themselves to be an authority on things, right? Because then you would know what
You
you
would
can
know
say
better
and
not to do
can't
no
do.
shit like this and just go on about your life. Go on about your life. Leave the other person alone. I mean, we've all been in a relationship that either didn't work out, we were rebounded. Cry your tears and carry on.
That part, that part. Digger, if I wish that that were the law here,
I thought
but
that too. I was thinking that same thing. I wish that put you on the registry, because that right there, I just commented that earlier. I thought about it, but you absolutely should go on that, because it is a six crime. I won't say the E part of it, but definitely.
it definitely is that. And to the people who keep saying my pictures weren't to their pornographic satisfaction, right? Here is the law. Any
How about this?
person,
Thank you for admitting that you saw it, further
oh, that part,
proving the case that this was disseminated to the public and it's further causing you harm.
that's the initial part. But then just look at the law, you guys.
Hmm.
Who is totally nude? I'm gonna tell you right now, the lawyer tried that in court. This part right here that I've highlighted for you on your screen, if you can see it, it says it right there. It's the first part. Who is totally nude? And no, I don't know that I was in any of those images, but just
It
like
goes
the
on.
judge,
It
the
goes
judge
on.
took out his big old law book and read the rest
It
of
goes on.
it. Goes on. It says in a state of undress, genitals, uh, buttocks are not exposed, but as obscene. And obscene is going to have to mean the fact that if Twitter told you to take it down, then it was obscene. Or if you got a strike or a warning from any of the social platforms that you uploaded these images to, obscene. Obscene, like you can't just show it to some children, because you would have to start explaining things to children. I don't.
No, the key words are this the key word is or or. That's the thing. It keeps continuing on to name areas that, just if you go out and stand on your sidewalk, you wouldn't have the right to see these parts of another person in public. These are areas that someone would keep private. And so you would have to do something grimy and illegal to, if someone, showed them to you, yeah. And then if you go out and show the rest of the world, that's illegal. So people have a right to privacy. And you can't just
Correct.
expose their privacy on the internet streets like that.
That's right. That's right. It's it's so it's ironic. I'm gonna not say it's funny, because then y'all will think that I'm making light of a serious situation, but I just mean that it's irony that someone would act like they know everything about everything, but then, the first case in my state wasn't even like this. It was one of those one-offs where the guy gets some pictures from a lady he's talking to, but oh wait, he is married. So his wife finds the pictures, and his wife is embarrassed and she's angry and she's like, I'm gonna expose you guys. And then she shares the images, and then she gets in trouble.
Yeah,
And
she's wrong for that. You cannot do that.
right. So it's not even how you guys think it is. It's about the consent. And if at any point this man had consent, he would have said that, but he didn't. Not privately, not publicly, not in court, and not to these sycophants who are flooding my comments with this hate and toxicity that seems to only come from people who would listen to someone and not expect them to follow through with the things that they talk about. A bunch of people who like to ego stroke and dick ride.
But
They
the
like
thing, the whole thing of it is what it boils down to. No one would have ever known about what two consenting adults did behind closed doors. It was nobody's business until the other party illegally committed that act and shared your images like that. And it was just a mess. But what that proved, he told on himself and revealed himself, because his entire online platform, online existence, the stuff he's done over the years, his most famous quote was, ats, tats, and brats, never gonna go for it. But yet, you as a damn near 50-year-old male go after a 30-year-old woman who embodies everything that you say to stay away from. That just goes to prove your whole existence is a fraud. It's fake. And
You're
he
right.
exposed that, because we wouldn't have never known.
That's an absolute fact. Nobody would ever have known any of this, because to me it was an emotional conversation at best.
Definitely a he-motional male. He-motional. I was talking about your emotions. I'm a male. I'm gonna use logic. That was a he-motional woman to have a bitch fit on Patreon, sharing private images, incriminating yourself. Like, wow, really? How dumb can you be? That was your he-motion.
Not even dumb. I just think that it's the trick bag language. He talks high value, but really he's low value. He talks about not overpaying, but what about the cost of your actions? At what cost do you say that my ego, that I tell everybody that I don't have, weighs more than doing the right thing? And if the right thing was to cut losses, to be done with, me, because that's what everybody keeps saying. He was done with you and you got mad and filed these charges. I promise you the state of Virginia would not have allowed me to file any charges off of my emotions as much as a crime happened. And
facts and evidence and meeting the elements of a crime. And if someone has been victimized and there's an offender, you got to do what you got to do.
And it's sad, because the amount of men that I see championing this, you would think that we had prior to all of this, when you would listen to the new Black media, it's all, we have a critical mass. I'm terrified of this critical mass of beta bitch first people who would allow such behaviors because they like the way someone talks. But maybe it's just time to separate the wheat from the chaff, right?
All this time, the wrong could have made right of a wrong. I mean, I don't know how that could happen, but it's been what, 8 months to attempt to right this wrong. Like, none of us are exempt from having a moment where we kind of lose it. But when it comes to hurt someone, to hurt you and put you and your family, what you've gone through, it would have been very honorable to just own it and try to make it right, but to just totally ignore it, but then to have the other ones out there coming to you and further showing the damage that has been done by his actions, there's no coming back from that. And then those who are still attached to him, under him, I'm so proud of the ones who have came out and said, like, look, something was wrong over there. They did not try to sit up here and re-victimize you over and over. Wrong is wrong. And it's best to just stay away from types like this. And the importance of a video like this, and to have you, Eve, just you're the true definition of unapologetic, because you've been truthful this whole time, not scared into shutting down your social medias and going into hiding. No, you've been right here and doubled down on everything. We have to stay away from these types who want to talk about the elders, our master teachers who did great work, who were on FBI list and had everything taken away from them, but yet they still stayed true to the people, true to us and where we are going today, who are worthy of being mentioned. So
that's a really good point, because this is where I have to bring him up at the same time as Kamala. Allowing people to pedestalize you, knowing that you don't have the paperwork to make it make sense, because the people are going to speak loud for you. They're going to blanket you and their voice and their energy. That's some cowardice. I get it if a bitch does it, right? Because they say that we need protection, but for a man to do it, seems like maybe you're all talk and not enough walk. And I'm sorry, in real time I have to just think about my experience next to you, and it's you're right, it is all talk, because when it comes time to walk, it's with a mask on or behind a
then you
bunch
have
of
us
humans.
out here with our government names and our families out there taking a risk, being echo chambers and going to places. As you stated, was one event where there's snipers on the roof and people are out there with their children and stuff. It's like this shit makes zero sense. It's time to get away from it. And majority of these cats who are over there, they are snag-tooth, broke, dusty dudes, and I don't mean to overuse the whole dusty thing, but they really are. It's a bunch of prison babble and just snag-tooth, like not using dental insurance and just a bunch of bullshit.
She said not using dental insurance. That's hilarious, and definitely
I've
makes
seen it
sense.
too, where I've shared screenshots of some real disrespectful cats from over there. Like, I've met some really great people. I met you, uh, D Griff, a bunch of great brothers and sisters. But yet you'll get those weird ones who get off on watching your pictures being shared around the internet and just have this what is it, parasocial relationship and all that other stupid stuff. It's real creepy. It's best to just keep to your damn self. The true people that you have connected with, keep them close, and the other ones, get rid of them. It's some weird folks out there.
Look, speaking of weird folks, I had to pull this up. I wasn't going to, but then you just kind of sealed the deal here. There are a bunch of freaky ass niggas on the internet, because first of all, why are you asking about a quote abusive man boyfriend? We're literally dealing with the
That
abuse.
does not exist. I've met your husband. We have all had our families together, and no, negative. Mm-mm. That's slander right there.
See, and that's the thing, people know us in real life. And whether you rock with me or not, you know that I've been consistently for our reparative justice. And then, I've actually been consistently fair about people's private lives. Yeah, try not to judge your private life as long as your private life is not fucking some children. I really don't have any capacity to give anybody grace there. But then outside of that, I try to just let people live. But when people say shit like, who cares? Aren't you a single mother of 5?
No, you're actually wrong. She's a married woman and mother of 5. That just goes to show that she's a real woman.
Exactly. And then this is your profile. Join May 2024. You aren't a real person. Whoever you are, like, you can't stand behind you, so you have to fake the funk, make fake profiles, whoever you are, whether you are Jeremy in Yellowface right now or not. I just don't understand some of these people's and their arguments. But what I will say is there was one argument that I saw, and the man, I think it's a man, he came back and said that he was wrong, and he didn't delete any of his tweets. So if you wanted to know what he was wrong about, you can go through my tweets and see. But that's what I like. I like people who are accountable and responsible for their feelings. Because I never set out to to dehumanize or even de-heroize y'all's favorite person. As much as what Taisha said is already true, you wouldn't even know about me in this capacity if your hero was a hero and not I don't even know what you would call him, Taisha, but it is because of him that we know any of this stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, we wouldn't have known. I mean, I've been out of the loop for a minute anyway. I think the last time I tuned in was like last year, but I was like, I'd have no idea what is going on. I'm so out of the loop. And then to see what happened, what unfolded, it should be a wake up call to sisters, especially because when Eve came out with everything and saying, hey, I've been wronged. And of course, you have the trolls and see how all this played out. It's only a matter of time before it happens to you. No one is immune from any of this. Like it could have happened to any of us.
That's real.
And so that's why this video is here, and I'm happy that Eve has been speaking out because this cult like movement, these charismatic talkers and stuff like that. Yeah, it's definitely a phase that we go through, and that's one thing that I've been studying when it comes to cults. It definitely has an audience, and luckily enough, we're not so detached from a support system or a home base to where we just get really out there. Because when I think about it, I very much could have been, had this been 1978, could have very much been one of the lost lives in Jonestown. So no one is immune from that. It just we have to learn from our experiences. And ironically, the sign that was above Jim Jones's chair in Jonestown was those who, I think it's like, those who forget their past are bound to repeat it. And that's like, wow, he happened to be sitting right under that. But that's one thing that always stuck with me.
That's a very poignant point. Those who forget their past are bound to repeat it. I'm with Dr. Winters on Wednesdays, right? And he has a show on Thursday where he goes into the past and antiquated Black history and talks about that stuff. And I find that a lot of us who are delineating or at least aren't interested in what's happened in the past, we are absolutely repeating the shit of the past. And what I mean by that is this personality, the cult of personality. I like you, I'm a rock with you, and it doesn't necessarily matter that you've done anything or not done anything as much as how I feel. And if I feel like I don't like them, then fuck them. I don't care if they get help or if they don't get help or whatever. But the only time people want to use that example is with the small hats in Europe, when some of them watched from their windows as some of them got shipped off and bussed off and trained off and ended up in camps. And then those same ones who were watching from their windows also got bussed off and shipped off and sent off. And this man has the 5 steps to Nazi Germany. But then in real time, he's doing the same shit. He's using us against us because we're allowing it. But no more. At least if you're over here by me, and I think I saw it by you, we don't want that energy. I don't want that energy. It's not productive and it's not constructive. If anything, it's just uncomfortable. And you can't just be uncomfortable. You guys are sitting here telling me that you would be the person who would pee in their sleep and then sleep in the pee. That's not me. I'm sorry. Not when I was a baby.
These charismatic talkers are getting you so amped up and riled up where you're echoing them and doing all that, but then they're turning around and, fluing out chicks. I don't know if that's the word, flued out chicks, and chilling at famous producers' birthday parties and stuff while you out here, doing other stuff that's, you're not having any fun. You should definitely ask questions about that.
Absolutely. That's an excellent point, because the man that I was telling you guys that owned his moment. Oh, let me just share it for you. Because I think it was really big of you to do this, so I hope you're cool with me sharing your tweet. But you said, I watched your vid. I take back my statements and skepticism. Sorry that he did that to you. Is he only lying about his criminal history and how he deals with women, or is the other shit a facade too? I'd have to say it's all a facade. It has to ALL be all, because if you've said, I eat this, drink this, breathe this, live this, but then you do this, well, you'd have to ask yourself, what is that? What are we eating, drinking, breathing, and living? Because it's not Black empowerment. That's not Black empowerment. It's not. It's something else. And if we can all agree that it's something else, then what do we do with that? Do we allow it to fester, or do we part ways and hope for the best, or do we put it in its place?
I tell you what we do. We do like the brother in the background and just laugh at him. When we see him come with that bullshit, we just laugh at him and point.
Y'all see him in the background? He's cracking up. And he's cracking up because of D. Griff. He hates athletes because he's 5'5". No, we're going to give him a little bit taller than 5'5", because I think on a good day, I might be 5'4". Just give me my inch, D. Griff. But he's definitely not taller than 5'8". And that's funny all the way free. 5'3". No, those boots definitely give some height, but not enough, because I've seen him up against his favorite tethers and he's shorter than them. So I think that it's about the big voice, and yes, Lady Stoic, that artificial self-esteem, because the artificial self-esteem will allow you to talk shit about Judge Mathis. Have y'all heard about Judge Mathis? Me and Dr. Winters were live about it earlier this week about faking it so you make it. But Judge Mathis wants his damn wife back. I don't know what he did to make her file papers, but he wants his woman back. And he said he's going to try to get her back. But he's got his listeners talking about discount bins and throwaways, but Judge Mathis is not calling her a discount or a throwaway. He said he wants his woman back.
Yeah, a lot of times when older people get divorced, like if you remember, like I don't know all the details, I'm just on the outside speculating as a viewer, but you remember when what was it, Nene from the Real Housewives, she divorced her husband when she started making Donald Trump money, and then they got remarried. I'm thinking it's because she went ahead and put a prenup in place, and plus he was terminal. So in a lot of cases, I hear when older people get divorced, it's so that that the other spouse, the surviving spouse, isn't stuck with a lot of medical bills. So it can be
Seems
a lot going on behind the scenes that we don't know. And then I know that the guy who made the documentary Supersize Me, he was terminal and he got divorced from his wife like 2 months before he passed away. So there's a lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes.
See, and that's the behind the scenes things that happen that people they want to offer their insights and input, but you don't know what happens behind the scenes. Behind the scenes, when you've got people talking about, ats, brats, and tats, and not spending more than what things are worth, but not having the money to spend at all without people donating, and or having the caveat of using your donations for legal fees. I just find that everything that's low value seems to be littered with double talk and double speak. You can't actually have an honest conversation because there's no honesty.
And a lot of it, I learned this term, and there's a YouTuber that I found out this from, but it's called rage bait. And a lot of people just don't have constructive things to add to the content creator world, so they just go and do rage bait, and that's really all that stuff is rage bait.
You're saying rage. What's the second word?
Bait,
Bait.
like
Rage
clickbait.
Click.
Rage,
Oh, right. No,
just
that's
rage bait.
seems real, something to anger the people to get the clicks, and then everybody can be all miserable together. I don't have the capacity. I don't want us to be miserable. I don't want us to lose.
You're too artistic, you're too brilliant, to even offer that. Like, you definitely have something constructive to offer to this world. So I'm so happy that you didn't allow that situation to dull your light. We want more from you, from your brilliant mind and your wonderful family. So keep on shining and keep on glowing. I noticed that glow on Wednesday when you were live with Dr. Winters. I'm like, look at this glow. So you definitely
Appreciate you
deserve
saying
a
that
smile
too,
and glow.
he makes me look good. And then sometimes I think he turns his light off to give me that extra shine. But um that's real. You guys, I like having shows with you. I like talking about my thoughts, and I like us coming to conclusions, even if it's not right now. All of what's been going on for the past 8 months is nothing I ever thought that I would ever be dealing with. But that's the Black experience for a lot of us. We do oh, it doesn't really happen unless it happens to me. And no, people don't say it like that, but that is absolutely how they feel, and their actions show. They speak up a little bit more if something's happened. I just want y'all to know that I've always wanted us to win. And if I'm the only one speaking about it, then someone not wanting me to speak about it seems like we are that close to winning. And I don't mean that I'm the only one speaking about it, but in my state of Virginia, it's four of us who give a damn to go outside and talk to the people who can do something. And if out of the four, two of us are me and my husband, then it sounds like you don't really want us to win. Because at the end of the day, you could have just went your way. I went my way. And then the women that have been harmed in a worse way, or the new women who get harmed, or whatever happens on your camp, that's for y'all to figure out, because I wouldn't have known that the math didn't math the way that you espouse it to math. But with this conviction, I find that the high cost of revenge, it seems like you will have to own your incel audience, right? Like, that's the cost right now, because I don't see you losing your critical mass. But I do see that more people of value are moving away. I mean, even tonight, I think your show went from 3,000 to 2,500 since I've been live. And it's not because of anything more than I think people just want the math to math.
Yeah.
So before we finish tonight, do you have anything that you can offer the people as far as it as you're in your professional capacity? You know, if something were to happen to them, knowing that we are targets, knowing that we can't really escape how they feel about us, is it all is lost, or is there something that we can do?
I wouldn't say all is lost, but it's definitely excuse me, it's definitely important for us to stay connected, to make the right connections, because none of us are immune to the ultimate, where our lives are taken, or something just as, I'm not saying petty or small, but something that comes out of nowhere that none of us expect, after a relationship goes sour, and next thing you know, you have your personal images all over the internet, but or annoying phone calls or something. But we all have to stay connected and help each other get through those things. I think the worst thing that could have happened was that you're out here crying for help and no one comes to your aid. That would have been, just terrible. But also, we have to pay attention to our elected officials on a local level, because any of us could have a crime happen to us. Unfortunately, I just did a video on Senior Airman Roger Fortson, who was murdered by a race soldier down in Okaloosa, Florida. Then next thing you know, we have, the district attorney, or in Virginia, the Commonwealth attorney, that has to present your case because you're now a state's victim. So we have to pay attention to stuff locally, build those connections, not burn bridges. But I know if I needed something, I have Eve and Mister that I could call on, or if I needed something, I have a couple people around the country, even the world, that I can call on. So the one thing is I'm taking away from this situation is the great connections that I've made, but to also turn around and offer an apology to anyone that I have wronged, because yeah, I drank the Kool-Aid as well when, you know, I need to apologize. So for anyone that, I was being a minion and doing those dirty works and things, I just want to apologize. But I hope that I can make that up to you by being a constructive friend, at any time.
Thank you. Because look, this here we are apologizing to people, and I haven't gotten an apology, but that's okay. I'm not here for that. I will say that what you just said just really hits home, because screaming for help and not getting help is demoralizing. And what I mean by that is not that my family, my man, my children, my parents, my sisters, I'm not talking about y'all. I'm talking about the people that I thought would help because they've met me. You can't put everybody in the same category because they're in the same environment. That's how you get got, like Dr. King. We have to learn from the past so that we don't repeat it or suffer the same consequences. What I found is that what our elder ancestors have said is very true. You have to look in the damn mirror. That's your help. And if you're not comfortable with what you see, then you better do something about it, because you don't have anybody else. I'm the only person who could have done something about what happened to me. Nobody witnessing it could have really done something about it, because at the end of the day, the police would have said, "Ma'am, do you want to file charges?" And if I had said no, well, that's why homeboy doesn't have a record, because some of the women are so broken that they don't want to file charges. They've done what I do, what I've done, which is eat it and own it, because I fucked up and I did wrong, and I am 11 years younger than this man. And I'm not saying that I'm not old enough to know better, but I am saying that this man who turned 48 today knows better. And we know he knows better because the show got taken down immediately after it was broadcasted. So y'all need to ask yourselves if the meat is worth spitting out the bones, because I don't eat pork. I actually don't eat any land animals.
When I eat meat, I'm gonna use my fork and my knife to take the meat off. I ain't chewing no damn bones. I ain't a dog.
I never even
trying to
thought
crack a
about
tooth or something. Negative.
It's real
That's greedy.
animalistic, right?
That's greedy up there chewing bones and stuff. Last time I saw that happen, I saw like I think it was a brother from like Trinidad or something. He was eating some chicken wings and he bit that bone in half and was like, I sucked the marrow. I'm like, oh, we don't do that up here.
That's some backwoods stuff. Shout out to my ex-husband because he definitely would suck the marrow out of some chicken.
Gosh. Oh gosh.
But, I mean, I feel you. If you're starving, right, then no piece should be left untouched. But black
I gotta get y'all that one. I grew up poor and I still didn't do that.
First world problems over.
Negative.
That's actually so real, because Black America, we keep getting told that we got this roach existence, that we are the bottom barrel, we are the lowest of the low, everybody gets more than us. But y'all church outfits were pressed on Sunday. Y'all had Easter outfits. Mama and them was able to cook all the meals on all the holidays, even though you didn't have as much as they say we're supposed to have. We have pennies on the dollar. So I find that when people who grift off of our oppression because they look the part, but they don't actually live the part, that's the real crime. That's the true crime. True crime is impersonating Black empowerment, because when it's time to call you to the plate, to hit the damn home run, to fly the plane because you're out here telling everybody you done been flying planes since planes been flying, but you never made an airplane. You've never constructed a paper airplane on your own. Shame on you, because all them people in the plane are gonna die. And I don't want to be on that plane, Taisha. I don't want to be on the plane with the person capping that they can fly the plane. That's the true crime.
Wow.
So for anyone who is tired of witnessing crimes, you can join me on any of the nights that I'm live. I think we've worked it out, me and Marie, to be live on Tuesday if you want to have a adulting type of conversation. Because if we're just honest, them old niggas in the room didn't want you to know that they turned 48 today. So we're just gonna have to go there. Wednesdays, I'm live with an actual old nigga, but he is so cool that I'm gonna have to give him elder status. Gonna have to. Just the white people have nothing to say to him except for he's a Black supremacist. And I love that. I love everything about that. And on Fridays, sometimes I'm live. Our sister Taisha comes through and shares her knowledge. And if you like these types of conversations, then maybe you'll join us on Fridays. But until next time, I just want y'all to know that in 2024, when the hoodlums are smarter than the non-Black authority, women rioting for their daddies and or stepdaddies, people that they've appreciated in their family, the men in their family that didn't have to.
R.I.P. to mine.
Yeah, I mean, even in the death, just being able to use their life as a how to not be a fuck up. R.I.P. to mine. We've gonna have to give shout outs to the Germs, the Lukes, and everybody who listens to those people, because it will continue to be a true crime if y'all act like you don't know. Until next time, y'all have a good night.